this league's great luminaries, Elena Delle Donne and Mike Tebow.
That'll do it, and it never fails to make me cry. Welcome back into our NBA TV studios. I'm Kristen Ledlow. The new WNBA champion has been crowned. Speaking of champions, she's Lisa Leslie, also the Hall of Famer. Our 3D, Dennis Scott,
leave it.
Also in the building. And what a game. Everything that you want a Game 5 to be.
Oh, everything you want it to be. The back and forth. The fact that there was so much, I think, tension in the building. When you even saw the guys, the fans, everybody had to get involved to will Washington to that win. But that's what you want to see. When you talk about a championship going to Game 5, you want to see it come down to the wire, and they did not.
And certainly capitalized on the excitement this series had built.
Yeah, Kristen, because when they lost Game 4, you were wondering, did the Mystics have enough fire to come back home? And then to your point, John Wall was there, Bradley Beal was there. So they're NBA fans there support him. Crowd was going crazy. So down the stretch, they did the little things to pull out the victory.
Were you concerned at all about the MVP, Elena Delle Donne, knowing that she is not 100% healthy the longer this series went, Lisa?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Delle Donne is surrounded by so many great shooters. The fact that they led the WNBA in the regular season in three-point shooting tells you a lot. The fact that they were #1 in free throw shooting, she's not alone. And I remember that Coach Cooper used to always tell me, you can either help us get to the championship or you can win it, but you can't do both. And that was a prime example of that, where she got that team to the championship, but she couldn't do it all. Meesseman steps up huge. Yeah. She had, it wasn't just this series, really her whole playoff series was so amazing. But Christy Tolliver, the one with the experience, able to step up. And then you had all the role players who came in with that fight, that heart. I love the way that they pulled it together. It was truly a team effort, and championship won.
And all series long, we had heard not just Elena, but Coach Tebow talk about Emma Meesseman being that missing piece from last season. She, of course, said she didn't see herself that way. She just wanted to be anything that this team needed her to be. But Dennis, with 18 points a game off the bench in this WNBA final series, exactly what they needed.
It was exactly what they needed. And Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, last year when they came up short, they needed one more shot maker.
Yeah,
and I think this was the point of you played tough. Christy Tolliver's leadership down the stretch, but one more shot maker on the floor, knowing that your MVP was banged up a little bit.
And she's not just a shot maker. What I love about her, and sometimes we don't get the chance to see overseas player, but she's a scorer, right? Okay. Inside, outside, the step back. I said she reminded me a little bit of a Katie Smith and a Tina Thompson, where she has a long range jumper where she can knock it down. She can also post you up. She had the nice face up, the Euro step through. She had so many pieces, I think, in her repertoire where she was able to be a consistent scorer. And here's the deal. She comes off the bench, so she's not getting a double team or a triple team. She demands that, but the team never had the ability to adjust, because you always have Elena Delle Donne out there. You have Christy Tolliver. So you had to pick your poison, and I guess it's one of those things where you say, if Meesseman can beat us, let her. Well, she did.
she definitely did. The finals MVP, but a scoring title, an actual title, and a regular season MVP for Elena Delle Donne. In rare company to win those three things in one season. Cynthia Cooper did it twice. Cheryl Swoops did it as well, as did Diana Taurasi. Let's hear, though, from Elena after winning this championship. You know what? That's sometimes what happens on live TV. Right. Still getting that going. And we're going to have Elena for you guys shortly, probably. I'll let you know as soon as they let me know. Let's talk more, though, about this Mystics team, because this was a team that came out, and when first quarters mattered, as they did the entirety of this series, every team that won the first quarter went on to win the game. They set the tone early on, Lisa.
Well, they did, and I was telling you when we were getting our makeup done that I said, listen, Washington just finally won the first quarter, and it was only by 1 point, 2 points, and so you knew right there, is this same thing going to happen statistically, that whoever wins that first quarter is going to win the game? It did, but it was definitely not a guarantee. It was a barn burner, and you got to give a lot of credit to the Suns. I thought they came out, they fought hard, they were on the road, and when you look at Jonquil Jones, this is a star in the making, and I know that a lot of people may not know her name, but big girl represented in the paint, her ability to block shots, the rebounding, getting on the boards and crashing. I was very proud to see her in there in the 5 and really step up even in this Game 5.
we always talk about trends of the first quarter. Same thing with free throw shooting. Down the stretch, the Mystics made their free throws. They took better care of the basketball. In Game 4, they had turnovers in that fourth quarter where they didn't do it tonight. So little things like that, trends set the table for the Game 5 tonight.
And it wasn't just about the Mystics starting the game strong. It was about finishing the game strong as well. And they went on a 13-2 run in that fourth quarter. Now, first, we're going to have Sun coach Curt Miller here at the podium, and we'll get back to you after that.
This campaign that we were going to burn it down and take the next step as an organization and a team. And from the moment of training camp started, we never shied from that and handled the pressure. And for a coach like myself that's always prided the teams that I've always coached, never too high and never too low, man, sitting in this hotel room here in Washington and looking at that Ferris wheel outside of our hotel windows, and knowing that this season included some highs, and looking at that Ferris wheel and knowing that there's at times when you're low. And they fought through those moments the entire season and put themselves in an unbelievable position to win their first championship. I think when the sting goes away, if we would tell them that we get to check it up with 10 minutes to go with a 2-point lead in Game 5 of winner-take-all game, I think we would play that 10 minutes over and over and over again. In the game, we're up 70-67. I'm guessing. You guys can fact check me. But my mind tells me that they have done an unbelievable job one-on-one in the post all game. We've defended the arc really well, but they're pulling at you because they've been so successful with points in the paint, and they've been successful playing one-on-one in the low post, that we get caught on a little bit of an in-between dig, and they kick it out, and Cloud makes a three, and all of a sudden it's 70-70. And I think at that stretch, they go on a 13-2 run. I stopped counting after that. But that 13-2 run, when we had a 3-point lead, was the deciding run in the game. We only made 5 field goals in the fourth quarter. I thought they got really physical with us. I thought our spacing got shrinked with some of the physicality, and we didn't execute. And when it was all said and done, they played a better 10 minutes in that fourth quarter and deserved the championship.
Curt, first question to your right in the first row.
Hi, Curt. Alexa Philbooth with the Harper Current. I was hoping you could just speak to the legacy you think this team will leave. I know, obviously, the front office campaign and your players felt that you were disrespected all season long. You were able to bring it to the last 10 minutes of this season to fight for a championship. What do you think this group has meant for the franchise and for the WNBA as a whole?
Yeah, we told them in the locker room after the game, and I used this. We have an introductory song with your introductory highlight video as you play right before you announce the starting lineups. And in that, it talks about being legendary. And I told them that they became household names in this series. Everyone's going to know their name now. And where we were considered a team without a mega superstar, we were forced to trade a number 1 overall draft pick weeks before the start of the season. And that locker room bonded together and said nothing can derail us. And so they became legendary. They became household names. And they were not considered mega stars. Well, that locker room's filled with a bunch of mega stars, and they proved that, and everyone's going to know who they are for the rest of their careers. So I'm really excited. I think the energy, the fan base is re-energized. We took the next step after a couple disappointing playoffs. And we all know it's not an easy market always. We're trying to fight for the small market franchise in pro sports, and so proud of our fan base and so proud of where the organization and franchise is again.
Curt, next question, first row to your left.
Hey, Curt, Doug Feinberg, the AP. Congrats on a wonderful season. That fourth quarter was somewhat reminiscent of the other night. I mean, tight game, came down to the last couple of minutes, plays made. It seemed that tonight their defense stepped up and when it needed to win the game. Is that kind of how you see it?
Yeah, I thought their physicality defensively, made better plays in the fourth quarter. it's funny. If you would have told me that, crystal ball, Kurt, what do you think? Washington makes 4 threes tonight. How do you think the outcome's going to be? And I would have told you, wow, we're in good shape. All series long, we won the points in the paint battle. And tonight, they won clearly the points in the paint. And they just played very, very good one-on-one basketball. And they put you in dilemma. Do you double down and give up open threes, or do you play and challenge us to get stops one-on-one? And they were good in the low post. And just when you may try to counter and look at some doubles, then they hit a big three to start their run. They were just better down the stretch. And defensively, it wasn't anything more than they were really physical. And I thought that they were the physical team when they needed it most down the stretch in a close game.
Kurt, front row center.
Kurt, hi. Congratulations on your season. Howard Megdal with the New York Times. With Jonquel Jones specifically, and the fact that she was so aggressive, so present early on, I'm hoping you to take me through both your decision-making to have her play through 2 and then 3 fouls late in that first half, and just generally speaking, what you think we've learned about Jonquel Jones in this series as a whole.
Well, first off, we all know she's a superstar. She's one of the premier rebounding players in the world. The versatility is only going to continue to get better. She can score the ball on the outside. She can score with her back to the basket, and it's only getting better and better at that way. She's an unselfish, quiet superstar that just has a huge game. In terms of tonight, we rolled the dice a little bit, playing her and extending her after her third foul, and then, got nervous that they could isolate her and maybe pick up that force, so we had to sit her down. But, it's a winner-take-all game. You got to let these guys play through some of their fouls, but with the dedication on their part, schematically, to throw the ball inside, it's hard. They have counters. They're good one-on-one players, and they can put you in foul trouble. So we had to pick our places. I didn't want to take AT out, but needed just to have her take a seat and take a deep breath with those 2 fouls in the first quarter. So with all that said, with all the foul trouble, we weathered it, and we got outplayed in the fourth quarter, and that's a credit to Washington.
Kurt, to your right in the first row.
Martenza Johnson, the undefeated. Speaking of Jonquel, with everything that happened with her home country at the beginning of September, how do you think she weathered all of that through the playoffs and then tonight?
Yeah, amazing. Obviously, her home country of the Bahamas means so much to her, and she's an icon in the Bahamas. And for her to take on, her and Buddy taking on that leadership role to raise funds and raise opportunity to provide relief to so many says a lot about her. And knowing that she was doing that in the midst of such a difficult schedule that we all undertake in the WNBA, she just that's the kind of person she is. She's just truly remarkable when you get to know her. Has this unbelievable personality, laid back, but can really turn that switch when she's on the court and be a beast around the rim.
Kurt, we have about two or three more questions, and then we have our Connecticut players. Next question, standing to your left, Kurt.
Kurt, you get it to 9 points. JJ picks up her 4th foul. She goes to the bench. Did you get a sense at that point, the rest of the way, that the momentum or sort of, guys were starting getting put on your heels a little bit there?
Yeah, again, it's a 2-point game to start the fourth quarter, and we could execute better offensively, but we were playing our guts out, and they made more plays. And in that 13-2 run, when it was 70-67, was the difference. We had to play stretches without JJ at times, and they. In that stretch, they went at Bree Jones and were able to accumulate some fouls to get to the foul line, We went with Morgan, and they did a good job with Emma in those stretches. But ultimately, it came back to that one run in the fourth quarter that we just couldn't sustain.
Two more questions. Sitting second row to your left, Kurt.
Kurt, I was here last year when Washington won, when they lost, and they seemed to seethe on that for a long time. Is this something that you seethe on? Are you already thinking ahead? I mean, what is that like?
Yeah, I think you see they were motivated. They talked about running it back, right, was their campaign, and disappointed that they got swept last year. This is going to sting for a long time for our players, but it will also motivate that core group that's back, that they know they can play championship level basketball. And again, I'm so proud that they have made themselves household names around the country, and everybody knows who they are now, and they know what they're about. I'll go to war with that core group, with that team, any day, because I know they lay it on the line, and they love each other, they care for each other, they want it for each other. There's a bond in that locker room that is pretty special, and I think you need that in team sports in order to win.
Last question for Kurt, as our Connecticut players are here.
Could you just talk a little bit about Emma Meesseman's performance, not just tonight, but the entire series, and how difficult it was to really just prevent her from going crazy like she did down the stretch?
Yeah, it's a chess match. Everybody, there's so many great players in this series. AT, I think you can see that she's one of the premier players in the world, and she's a tough matchup at our end. Emma's a tough matchup. EDD's a tough matchup. There's so many outstanding players. What I give credit to Emma is that she had stretches in the series differently. In the fourth quarter, in Game 3, it was pick and pop. Tonight it was one-on-one isolations, and so that's what's special about Emma is she has a versatility to her game. But man, it's fun. You could pick out all 10 starters in this series and talk about how special they are and the special stretches that they had in this series. It wasn't one person for either team, and every game different people stepped up for both teams. I think it was good for the league. It may not have been a buzzer beater. We didn't have that kind of finish in any of the 5 games, but man, it was good offensive basketball, and it was laying it on the line defensively.
Kurt, thank you. To our media, if you'd stay seated, our Connecticut players are here. We'll begin right away. Please let me know if you're going to have a question.
Connecticut Sun did force this Game 5 with a Game 4 win, so let's hear from Jonquel Jones, Alyssa Thomas, and Jasmine Thomas.
You guys are up 3, and they made this 13-2 run. It seemed somewhat similar to Game 4, where you guys in the fourth quarter made a run to take control. What did you feel on the court in that stretch when they sort of turned a 3-point deficit into an insurmountable lead?
They were aggressive. They found something that was working and kept going back to it, and we struggled to slow it down, and then we couldn't put the ball in the hoop on the other end, and, we can't let that happen.
Center first row.
Howard Megdal, New York Times. Jonquel, this one is for you. From an early point in this game, you seemed eager to assert yourself. It seemed like that was something you were increasingly comfortable with over the course of this series, and I'm wondering if you feel like you found a different level of assertiveness and engagement in the way you've played this series that you are looking to take forward.
I think anytime you're playing in a championship, you learn stuff about yourself. I think I've been able to take it to another level, but it was just, it was winner take all. So I just wanted to go as hard as I could, and unfortunately, it didn't go our way.
First row to your right.
Jonquel, could you talk a little bit about what you thought you guys were doing well so much in the first half, really going into the third quarter, you were still able to keep them at arm's length, and what exactly changed on your end and also the Mystics end for them to go on that run in the fourth quarter?
I think AT spoke to it. They were aggressive. They went to things that were working. I think that was the difference, and we weren't able to score the ball.
Hey guys, Molly with The Athletic. This is looking ahead already, but where are the three of you going to play next? And AT, is shoulder surgery in your immediate future?
No, I'm about to head overseas and play in Prague.
To where? Prague? Again?
Yeah. I'm going back to Russia to ECAT.
I'm waiting until January, taking a break.
First row to your right.
Jasmine, could you speak to what you think the legacy of this particular team is, being able to come within 10 minutes of a final? And obviously your franchise's motto this whole season was burn it down and then later being disrespected. But what do you think this group was able to bring to the league and to basketball overall?
I mean, I'm proud of us. I think, we asserted ourselves and wanted to make ourselves known in this league, not just, as individuals, but as a team. We've taken pride in team basketball all season. We're a close group. We really care about each other. And with sitting next to these two women up here with how hard they work and, how special they are, they're two of the most talented people I've ever played with. So it hurts that we couldn't, win this championship for them. But, I think we'll always remember this team. I think, going forward, we know what we're capable of. We know we can be back here, and we're just, it hurts right now, but I think we have a lot to be proud of.
Front row center.
Jazz, this one is for you. If you look back at, I think it's the last 4 champions were the runners-up the year before. Kurt obviously made a great deal of the fact that there was no one who was 30 on this team until you at the very end. But obviously, even so, there's a tremendous amount of youth up and down this roster. I wonder whether if you view it as the beginning of something when you think about the arc of where this team is and where it's going.
For sure. I feel like every season we have accomplished more. With those 2 early exits and the single elimination, I feel like we've grown and we've matured as a team. We're completely different now. We know how to win. And, I think from the beginning of next season, we'll be determined to get right back here.
Anyone else? Thank you. JJ, Alyssa, Jazz, thank you.
The Mystics win their first title in team history as Emma Meesseman becomes the first ever WNBA player to win the Finals MVP off the bench. In fact, Andre Iguodala is the only player in the NBA or the WNBA to win one coming off the bench in any game, and he started 3 of those games in his series. Emma averaged 18 points a game off the bench, had 22 in the decisive Game 5. Here she is after the game with Coach Tebow.
It's mostly gone.
We will take that, but we'll give you the first comment. Coach.
Wow. The missing piece. I'm just so happy for all these players and the organization who bought into what I was selling 7 years ago. That there was a path to get out of what was a pretty desperate time here. And if people would buy in, the path would get accelerated. And this girl right here was one of the first pieces. One of our draft picks that, the maturity and growth that she's shown since she showed up as a 19-year-old. What the heck are you now, 26? Yeah. 26. And she's still a youngster. How much her confidence has grown, what a great teammate she is. I think one of the best things about this team is the camaraderie and the family atmosphere in this team. They love each other. They played for each other. When we had our toughest moment tonight in the third quarter, we banded together, played like we had all year. Obviously, Emma and Elena and Christy and others, Tosh, that group that was on the floor, Ariel, both Ariels. I mean, I didn't sub much in the second half. Latoya and I think Ariel Powers might have been the only other ones that played, besides the group I just mentioned, and they just were warriors. We've talked about that all year, that stay in the moment, be who you are, and they were. They stayed true to character down the stretch, and I'm so proud. I'm happy for our fans. I don't know, whatever it is, 21, 22 years, I don't even remember. There's a lot of people that stuck with this group, and when we came here 7 years ago, on heels of a 5-29 season, this thing was on the brink. And to see what's happened, this building, everything else that's gone with it, I appreciate it so much. And everybody in this organization, the Wizards, the Caps, everybody has supported us. You know, you saw John and Brad there tonight. They've been on board with us, and this is a great feeling. This is what a family feels like.
All right, everybody, we're going to begin. We have our other Washington players that we're going to bring in momentarily, but we're going to begin right now with Coach and Emma. First two questions will come front row center. Doug.
Hey, Mike. Doug Feinberg, the AP. You actually had some time to sort of think in the last 30 seconds there because it didn't come down to a buzzer beater. I'm curious what was going through your mind as the clock is winding down. You knew the game was over.
Make your free throws. Well, before that, last 30 seconds,
yeah.
I turned and looked at my staff, Eric and Marianne and Maria and all those guys down there, and all the work that they've done behind the scenes. I felt great at that moment because, that's not what everybody sees. It's all the glamour part that everybody sees. But I see Natasha and Elena and those guys in the gym in January with Eric or, Maria or somebody working on stuff. I thought about all of the little things that have to go into putting the team together and how happy I was for that whole group. And I was looking at fans who I'd seen since the day I came here. I looked across, away. There were people sitting in the front row who had been here since I came here. And to see the joy on their face, that's what this is all about. I mean, we're an entertainment business, but entertainment and all that satisfaction was incredible.
Next question, front row center.
Howard Megdal, New York Times. I have a question for you. During that decisive period of time in the third quarter, where you had an opportunity to consistently drive the ball, score the ball, was this going to be something that you would have been in your skill set and something you would have done as recently as a year ago? Or is this part of what we talked about earlier this year of finding a different level for yourself?
I just really, really wanted to win this game, so I just came on the court and I knew that it was a moment that we needed some energy, and I was just going at the basket and it was going in, so I just kept going. Kurt's been talking about if your shot is going in or even not, you just have to take your opportunity. And I don't think that I would have done this a year ago, 2 years ago in the past. I think that's these playoffs were the moment that I really realized that I have to take my responsibility and I can play, So that's just what I did, But it's really not something that I would have done in the past few years. Not sure yet.
She's one of the top players in the world.
Mike, Emma, next question, second row all the way to the left.
Thanks. Emma, Mike, congratulations. From day one, from Media Day, the motto of this team has been run it back. I'm curious now that you've achieved the goal that you all set out for, what that motto did to fuel each of you personally, if you could share something that you feel you improved on this year because of that motto, because of the team camaraderie behind it.
Go ahead.
When I first came back from missing last year, I kind of knew in the back of my head that we were going to do it because I felt the difference in the past few years. It was that being hungry to take that last extra step. So running back is like exactly what describes our team or our season this year. It's just the team really changed by last year, by that experience, by going to the finals and not winning it. So I think that model was a perfect model for us, just to motivate us to do that. Yeah.
We have two more questions from Mike and Emma.
No, I think I was going to answer. The only other thing about the run it back for me was the coach is a little different than the players in that regard. When you say run it back, you're already thinking to getting to this point. And I think a coach's job, and I think our players followed it along, is to stay in the moment, though. The worst thing you can do is think that, because you got there, you deserve to get there again. I think this team was terrific in staying in the day-to-day process. There's a process to getting this done. It's individual work, it's team work, it's video work, it's scouting reports. And if you look too far ahead, you lose sight of the little things you have to do to get better. And I think the one thing that this team can say is that we got better all year long. And it's because they were able to not jump a month ahead or 2 months ahead, is that we had a goal to try to get home court advantage. It ended up being a difference, and that work that we put in to get the 5th game on our court paid off tonight because this crowd was great, our energy was great, and so but you don't do that in the last 2 weeks of the season. You do that throughout, and I think they've been great at it.
We have 2 more questions for Mike and Emma, and then we're going to bring up the other Washington players. Those of you who have questions, we will get to you on the second bunch. Second row center.
Amber D. Dodd, hoopfeed.com. Congratulations to you both. Emma, of course, you hear missing piece all season, and especially in the series. Can you just talk about how that was motivation and how that was just fuel for you to just continuously dominate throughout this playoff series?
I think it put pressure on her, to be honest with you. She was more nervous the other day than she was today, I think.
No, I was opposite.
Yeah.
Today I was so nervous.
You were more nervous today? Holy smokes, okay. She looked more calm today, so.
I've never really believed that because I know that last year I would not be the same player this year. I just think that I really needed that break and to be home. So I would not have been able to bring what I brought now. So I'm just glad that I got that confidence from the team, that they had my back and they gave me the support. Without them, I would not be able to do what I did today, So I've said that it was like my family, and I really mean that.
Emma, Mike standing to your right.
Hey, Mike, Gene Wong, Washington Post. Those of us who were at Elena's introductory news conference remember her talking about championships right away. To see her make good on that with a herniated disc in most of the series, did that maybe reveal something about her grit that you may not have known before she got here?
Well, I always felt she had grit. It's just that sometimes you need the opportunity to display it. She was injured in the Chicago finals that year and a lot more injured, I think, than she was here. I credit our medical staff and our physical therapists for doing an unbelievable job with all of our players. Her, Ariel, Christie's injury coming back. We've had a lot more bumps and bruises and injuries that we've kind of not hid from everybody, but we just don't talk about as a team. And, I think they did their great job, but you got to want to play through something. You got to love your teammates so much that you play for the person in the room next to you. And, they're not playing, no offense to anybody else, but they're playing first for each other. And I think that took precedence, and that's why their grit comes out, because that meant that much to them.
Mike, Emma, thank you. To our media, we have our other Washington players here right now.
Victor Oladipo tweeting what a great game. Both teams played great. Congratulations to the Washington Mystics on winning their first WNBA Finals. I can't wait to have that same feeling.
Like an Oreo.
All right, everybody, we have about 6, 7, 8 questions lined up, so we're going to get going right away. Okay.
First of all, I'd like to apologize. We are going to be a rowdy bunch. Absolutely.
Natasha, your first question is going to come seated to your right in the front row.
Martenzie Johnson, the undefeated. This is for Christy and Natasha. Your team is one of the more active teams in the social issues realm. With that comes criticisms of shut up and dribble, shut up and play. I guess with a championship now, what do you think of that line of thinking that you can't do both at the same time?
Take it, Tosh. This is for you. For me, shut up and watch. This is a league full of powerful women. I'm not biased in the sense of the WNBA has been at the forefront of all social issues, and our team has been phenomenal. We're in the most powerful city in the world. There's a lot of politics and issues that are handled here in D.C., so we'd be doing a disservice to a bunch of people if we didn't speak up and use our platform. So those people that say that we should just shut up and dribble, they should just shut up and watch us.
Next question in the last row to your left.
Congratulations, guys. Question for all three of you. What sort of role has Emma played for this team? And she seemed almost like she was surprised to get the MVP honors. What does that say about her, and what do you think about her winning tonight?
I'll take this.
Messi. Messi is a very, very, very good basketball player. And I think coming from Belgium, coming from a smaller country, where sport isn't everything, it's not like that big of a deal. The platform isn't as big. when it's here, obviously, it's enormous. So for her, her humility, just being a good person, a great teammate, an amazing basketball player, she was the missing piece. And so obviously we're all extremely thankful that she was here this year. She was the difference. And she has also grown because I've had an opportunity to play with her even in Europe and won championships with her in Europe. But the way she played tonight and the moments that she wanted the ball in the biggest moments. And a couple of years ago, she didn't.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge credit to her and her growth as a player and a person. So she was enormous for us.
Next question, first row to your right.
Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer to Elena and Natasha. How does it feel to have finally won a championship?
Go ahead, though. It's your moment.
It feels phenomenal. I've asked Panda about it. How's it feel? What's it like? Panda, how can I get one? But my goodness, this feels so good. It's hard to even put it to words, but to win this and win this with such a great group of people, I think that's what makes this so special. We wanted to win this for the person next to us. It wasn't about winning it for ourselves. And to get this done and to get this for somebody like Toya, who's an absolute anchor for this team, that's what means the most, and that's what we're going to take away, and that's what we'll remember forever. We're going to remember this season because we were around such incredible people, and we absolutely adore being together. So I'm kind of sad. Absolutely. Season's about to be over. I'm going to miss everybody, but my goodness, we sure ended this on a high note.
Next question, seated center, third row.
William Ford, Washington Informer. Mainly for you, Natasha. In terms of fun, you guys have talked a lot about enjoying yourselves. A lot of hard work, but still fun. Why was it so much fun?
I think Elena just talked about it. We've created this atmosphere here where we're a family, where we enjoy coming into work every single day, whether it's practice or, film work. We enjoy coming in because we're around each other. And when you have that type of atmosphere, it makes this game fun. At a professional level, it's really hard to get that. And I've seen that with being here for 5 years now. I've seen it in different teams, but the last 2 years, I've thoroughly enjoyed just coming in and working and getting better every single day. And it's mainly because of the people that we surround ourselves with.
No one on this team gives a crap about getting credit. The stat sheet, throw that thing away. Nobody cares. And I know teams will say that about themselves, but this is true here. As long as we get a W at the end of the day, that's all that we've ever cared about, and that's what makes basketball fun. That's when you were kids playing, why it was so fun, and that's why this season's been so fun.
Absolutely.
Our next two questions.
She's not trying to get any free agents by saying
Next two questions from the front row center. Doug?
Doug Feinberg, the AP. Elena, every time you get in the finals, it seems something goes wrong with you physically, right? Chicago last year, the knee, the bone bruise this year, the back, everything else that's bothering you.
Yeah.
Just talk about, what it means with what you've gone through this year, injury-wise, in the past, and not been successful, but now to actually get a title, not that it's worth it, but what it means from that. And also, the second question is, I saw you and Coach had seemed like a long chat in center court after the buzzer sounded, confetti's going out. Just what you said to him, because I know you talked before how important it was to win a title for him.
Yeah, so I've contemplated long hours over why every time I get to a final something happens. And I think it's because I pissed the basketball gods off years ago when I decided to step away. So I'm hoping this ends this little drama that I've been having in the finals. But yeah, to be on a team that could carry me when I wasn't 100% really means a lot, to just get over this hump and to be able to push through when not feeling great. And then Coach and I, we've had this little thing through the playoffs where we go up to each other and say, have I told you lately that I love you? Even in bad losses where we're kind of angry at each other. We do that to keep ourselves going. And to realize how much we do love each other, and how much I've trusted in him by coming here to DC and believing in his dream, and him just putting together this team that is just so great on the court and off the court. So I also said I was very happy that I am one of the players and this is the team that was able to bring him something he hasn't done yet.
Front row center.
Hold on, and let me also add to that because I'm about to drop this bomb on y'all. Elena not only has one herniated disc, she has 3. And when you're talking about
The medical staff is going to kill you right now.
I don't
but-
care. But when you're talking about, it's so important because when you're talking about playing for the players to the left and to the right of you and being a leader on this team and being one of the captains and pushing through to win us the championship, I mean, that's a huge testament to both her and Ariel in this last series. So, again, thank you, Della.
Love you, Tash. Yeah.
3 of them things. 3 of them.
All right, front row center. Next question.
Elena.
Surprise.
They're gonna kill me.
They're
gonna kill me. Y'all lock in with me for one more year.
Front row center.
Elena, Howard Mandel, New York Times. Congratulations to all of you. I'm hoping you to take me through what was your mindset. It seemed like, in Game 3, a lot of it was staying around the perimeter. Game 4 was more of the attacking. Game 5 tonight, it just seemed like it was fundamentally the way you attacked the game, despite 3 herniated discs. And just, if you'd take me through your thinking about that, how much of this was just knowing it was all on the line here and how hard it was.
Yeah. We have a great medical staff, so they've been able to, help me a lot in this week of just trying to get me to feel as good as I possibly can. So they've been huge, just getting treatment every day and, getting me the right meds, all that. But yeah, I felt pretty decent today, and I also knew this is the last game, I can rest now. So I felt like, I was able to kind of give a little bit more, especially on the defensive end, just trying to box out Jonquel, trying to keep her off the boards because she's a monster on the boards. Thank you.
Ooh, 4.
Ow.
Yeah, shit, actually, there's 4. It just got me excited.
Yeah, but I mean, it just felt great to be out there and to be able to compete. And like I just said before, this team is so good and was able to help carry me through.
Our next 3 questions will all come standing to your left. We're going to be one, then Michelle and Ava. Go ahead, please. No, Michelle, please. With the microphone, please.
Oh, she had 3.
With the microphone, please.
Hey, Capri, Women's Sports Report. This season, you guys' mantra was run it back. Can you guys talk about how that propelled you guys to win this year's championship?
Go ahead, Panda.
That's you, Panda.
That's your
That was good.
Oh, it was my motto?
You
It
came
really
up with
was.
it. It really was.
It's actually Flav's.
Was it?
John's guy.
Oh, okay. This is
I can't
teamwork
take
makes the
credit.
dream work.
I mean, when you have an experience like last year and you get to the finals and you don't get what you want, you're extremely motivated for the next year. And so as soon as the buzzer sounded, we were ready to rock and roll. And everybody did their part, whether they were here in America or they were playing overseas. Everybody knew the goal and the purpose, and everyone trained that way. And so for us, as we started the season, run it back it's old school. It's, you're playing on the street and you're the next one's up. It's like you lose, run that back.
Good.
I'm very proud of myself for not cursing right now.
It's really
I was
good.
proud too.
Yeah.
Run it back.
Good.
So we just embraced that. We embraced just there's 2 ways you can go. You can feel sorry for yourself, feel like, man, why me? How come it didn't go our way? Or you can regroup and you can really be determined for greatness. And this team was determined for greatness. And it took 5 games, took 4 in the semis. It took battling injuries. It took a lot of resilience, fight, heart. We had the biggest heart all year, and we were the most focused and determined team all year. And we're just really proud of what we've done. But last year, obviously, certainly motivated us to be really, really focused for the season.
2 more questions. Michelle and Ava. Michelle, please.
Elena. I'm sorry. Elena, I know part of your journey has always been your sister and how that impacted your entire journey, going to Delaware and then getting this trade. I know you can't share this with her probably the way you would like to, But what does it mean to have a championship when you consider what that journey's been like and how you put her first in a lot of ways?
Yeah, I mean, Lizzie has been my journey, and some people have never understood my decisions. Others have, but she's been my path, and somehow she's got me to this moment. And you know, it's been a crazy journey. It's been my own path. It's been different from everyone else's, and I've just kind of believed in it. And you got to follow your heart, and I've always trusted in her. You know, another reason I can battle through injuries, like she's been dealt the worst cards possible with her disabilities, and every day she gets up, she smiles, she laughs, she loves. So she's always just been my inspiration, and I was talking to her all game long, like trying to have them miss free throws. I'm like, come on, Liz, give me a little something. So yeah, she doesn't know it. She doesn't even know I'm a basketball player. But she's been my biggest motivator, and she's brought me here, and she's brought me to this moment. So once again, I got to give all credit to her.
Next question, standing to your left, Ava.
You guys have set a three-point mark in the WNBA this season and had 4 of them tonight. What happened in the fourth quarter when it was pretty much you guys and Emma? What was your mindset going into that stretch when you finally? What is, I don't know what that
Those
means.
are her 3 goggles.
Oh yeah, a lot of
My
them.
3 goggles.
What was your mindset in that fourth quarter when you guys kind of muscled your way into getting a little separation without doing it the normal way? Just the goggles.
That's her answer.
I mean, every game is different, and Deli and Messi were dominating on the block, and that was a high percentage shot for us. Those twos, we will take those twos all day long. So if the 3 ball's not going down, that just shows the strength and the diversity of our team. You know, we can score with twos, we can score with threes, and tonight it wasn't the 3 ball, and that just kind of shows the makeup of our team. There's not one way to try to beat us. We're going to find a way.
Standing to your right, next question.
Hi, David Aldridge with The Athletic, DC. Oftentimes when a team wins a championship, in reflection they say it wasn't so much that they wanted to win, it's just that they didn't want to lose. They hated losing, the idea of losing so much. And so I wonder in those last 8 to 10 minutes where you guys went mentally to try to get those stops and to, as was said, go inside to win it as opposed to shooting threes.
I'll just say something, and then y'all can finish
Yeah.
it. All I said before the game to the team was regret nothing. And you guys take it from there.
And we didn't regret anything.
Yeah, no, I don't think in our minds during the duration of the game that it came up. We don't want to lose. Like Chrissy said, this team wanted greatness, and greatness comes with that will to win and that will to push through and get stops and do all the little things that are necessary. And we did that on the defensive end. For us, the last couple of huddles, those last 8 minutes, it was all about defense and rebounding. And the team that could do that the best was the team that was going to win.
All right, we have 2 more questions. Third row center.
Chrissy, you were the only one on this team to win a championship, and now you have another one. But what makes this championship feel different than the previous one?
Well, it's different. I mean, the people are different, obviously, and I love these people. I mean, I love the other people too, so don't stand corrected. I think it's special when you are able to make history, and we made history tonight, and that just takes it to a whole different level. Everybody says, like, you'll never forget your first. Like, I'll never forget my first, but this one, with these guys and the relationships that I have with them, I mean, I love them. Like, these guys are my family. Like, I would do anything for them. So for me, just coming out tonight, I mean, I didn't play great. Like, I mean, I made some free throws at the end of the game.
Huge.
But
clutch.
Okay. See, that's why I love them. They built me up. But go ahead. Go ahead. It was the bomb.
This feels great.
All right, we have about 2 more questions. We have about 2 more questions.
Hey now.
Hey,
where we
Standing-
going with that?
That's going to the room for your photos. Standing to the left.
Okay.
If you could maybe shine
Marielle.
it. It's a little,
Yeah, it's got champagne
dirty,
all over
a little
it.
musty.
Yeah, clean that sucker
Probably
up.
smells too.
Standing to your left.
Neilville Hoop District. For any of you guys, when you guys were down, what was being said in the huddle and the timeouts and to keep you guys focused?
Hey, this mofo right here,
was
she stepped
great.
up. I mean, we know she's from Philly, so she talks a lot. Yeah. So she's just like, but it was great. But that's what makes us us too. Everybody has her thing.
Yeah.
She talks a lot.
Sorry.
She obviously does what she does. I mean, I'm like, they're calling me now the OG or the triple OG. I'm just the old head now. So it's like my role is kind of, whatever. Tosh stepped up huge today. Just communicating, just saying everything that everybody was already thinking.
Yeah.
And her growth, like this year, has been to a whole nother level. Y'all are wrong for not making her Defensive Player of the Year. Y'all are all wrong for that.
Yeah.
But she used that as motivation. And whatever. I mean, Tasha's the shit.
Yeah.
Thanks, y'all.
Yeah.
See,
Gosh.
the atmosphere.
All right, we have 3 more questions. Second row to your right.
Right. Tosh, Mel Greenberg.
What's up, Mel?
Speaking of Philly, your junior and senior year, they were coming around a lot. Nobody else was. Did that kind of convince you that, yes, I can do this thing? Yeah, I can become a WNBA player?
Yeah, I don't really personally talk about my journey a lot, but I had one coach and one organization believe in me when I transferred from Maryland for family reasons, kind of similar to Elena. I understood that I was giving up this dream in a sense. And so when Coach T and Eric started coming around, it kind of sparked that, that energy back in me that this was a possibility. This has been a 5-year process. I've been trying to grow in all these years. I'm still not perfect. There's still a lot of room to grow. But I definitely take my path and my journey, and I'm proud of myself for where I am now to where I was then. Because you would ask anyone, no one expected me to be here. So to be a part of this team, to be a part of this organization, and to make, history here, it means everything to me.
2 more questions. Standing to your left in the back.
You all worked so hard to get the #1 seed, to have the home court advantage. You're all from the East Coast, and Tasha talking about the connections with your family. But with that being said, how important was it during that surge in the fourth quarter to feel the energy from the home court crowd?
I mean, it just felt like there's no turning back once we got that lead. They were just roaring. You could see it on Connecticut's face, oh God. They've got momentum, they've got the crowd, they've got everything. I'm not gonna lie, we kind of wanted to win it in 4, but now that we won it in 5,
Nobody wanted to win it in Connecticut.
that's true.
Connecticut stinks.
We would just be
You guys were
back in our
there.
room.
I just wanted to win it.
I haven't seen the daylight in 5 days.
We
in
got
Connecticut.
sun now.
We are feeling good.
Yeah, it's great here in
We
DC.
have blue crabs here. What?
Do we?
Do we?
I mean, who?
So yeah, it was great to win it in DC.
Last question. Standing to your left, Michelle.
So I know this is really ancient history for all of you guys, but Marianne Stanley got a title tonight too, and she is one of the legends of women's basketball. Won an NCAA title back in '85, was on the Immaculata teams. I mean, really one of the pioneers. What has she meant? Any of you or each of what has she meant to you guys? And
Stan.
she's 65
Good
and
old
getting this,
Stans.
along with Mike Tebow getting one.
Good old
Oh, I love Stans. She's the post coach, so I can probably talk a little bit more about her. But Stans, she's just cool. She always has the post back. She's always a voice on the bench when things aren't going well. She's just kind of keeping our heads in the game, keeping us feeling good about ourselves. And then Stans is also an X's and O's genius.
Yes.
I don't know if people know that about her, but she drew up in practice one day 10 out of bounds plays.
We scored on all
and
10.
we scored every single time, wide open threes or wide open layups. Stans, she's a phenomenal coach. And, I'm not in the coaches' meetings, but I'm sure she has had a ton to do with this and why we're so great, why our offense is flowing so well. So to see her get this is really special too. She's an awesome person. She deserves it.
I think it's really cool. I just want to say, real quick, that she was one of the first players that played in Madison Square Garden. And so, that's just to be around a person like that in the history of our game, and she just won her first, title as a coach. That's just special. And so we're just really, really happy for her.
Yes.
Natasha, Christy, Elena, thank you.
And that'll do it for our WNBA Finals post-game coverage. For Lisa Leslie, 3D, Dennis Scott, I'm Kristen Ledlow. Now, after this break, we're going to join the Golden State Warriors and the Minnesota Timberwolves preseason game already in progress. But you can stay with us on NBA TV after that game because we'll be back for preseason.